When you look at all of the different things that are available today to improve your health, when you look at lifestyle choices, dietary choices, exercise choices, what is there a way, like if a person's listening to this, like what's the best step forward? Like if you're listening to this, you know what, I'm making a choice. My life is a disaster. I eat like shit. I'm sedentary.
Yeah. Well, I think
How do I jump in?
how do I jump in? Well, I think you don't want to break off more than you can chew.
Right.
I think that's a big mistake that people make. You want to try to adopt one new habit at a time, and after that habit cements, then you can try adding in another habit. But for for some people, it might be as simple as drinking a glass of water before your first cup of coffee in the morning. Just like hydrating yourself before that first cup of coffee. And then once you start doing that, maybe start to look at breakfast. Breakfast, there's all this data now coming out showing us that I used to think, and this is an area where my thinking has evolved. I used to think that breakfast was non-essential, that the later in the day we can push our first meal, the better. We would get some kind of like autophagy brownie point or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But actually the data has come out showing us that when we eat a protein-rich breakfast first thing in the morning, and we consistently eat that every day, it does a really good job at regulating our hunger levels throughout the day. We subsequently, when we eat a high-protein breakfast, we eat fewer calories over the subsequent 24 hours. And I think that's really important. I mean, how many people today start their days with a, coffee drink from
And then maybe a bowl of cereal.
yeah, it's like starting your morning with dessert.
Right.
That's how so many people start their mornings today, right?
Mm-hmm.
A bowl of sugar-sweetened cereal, coffee with sugar, and fruit juice,
Yeah.
And it's that you're setting yourself up for hunger dysregulation. It's just no bueno. Stress, and so try starting your day with a protein-rich breakfast. Try to hit 30, 40, maybe even 50 grams of protein with your first meal of the day. It's a great way to assuage your hunger, to make sure that you're going to be, come lunchtime, you're not going to be up against the wall looking for the quick sugary fix from the vending machine or from the, the rec room or the cafeteria or whatever. I think it's a great first healthy habit to adopt. And that's going to influence your behavior subsequently down the line. I also think it can be really useful to try to be as present with your food as possible. I mean, I'm guilty of eating on the run just as much as, anybody else today, but studies show that when we're distracted when we're eating, we tend to consume more calories, about 15% more calories, which doesn't seem like a lot, but you consume 15% more calories with every meal every day, and that adds up to a spare tire over time, You really want to major in the majors, and as opposed to the minors, which I think many people do today. So, prioritizing whole foods, it's like if there's one dietary tip, I really think that's it, because in so doing, you are optimizing for satiety. We know, thanks to NIH-funded research, that when people eat largely an ultra-processed diet, they tend to overconsume their calorie budget for the day by about 500 additional calories.
And this is intentional. I mean, this is something that's been engineered into these overprocessed foods.
Engineered. Yeah, it's engineered. And nobody's being honest about this. That these foods are literally designed to be overconsumed. You're not a failure for overconsuming them.
Right.
That's the way that's how you're meant to respond to those foods.
Yeah.
And it's the food industry, right? They're certainly playing a role, but it's also your own biology. It's like how your brain and your taste buds have evolved, because the ubiquity of food hasn't always been a thing. For the vast majority of our time on this planet, food scarcity was a real issue. There were more underweight people walking the earth than underweight. Now that seesaw has flipped. Now we are living for the first time in human history, there are more overweight people walking the earth than underweight, due to this phenomena, this westernization of our diets.
I think it's also very important what you said about not biting off more than you could chew, and just try to take on one healthy habit at a time and build up to that. Because it's been shown that habits if you can continue them for a predetermined period of time, I think it's 90 days or something like that. Once it gets to around 90 days, those habits become sort of cemented in to who you are.
Yeah. I mean, I started making my bed a year ago. I'm in my 40s. I've never made my bed until about a year ago. And it's a habit that now I've cemented, you know? So you can teach an old dog new tricks. But
That's a funny one.
Yeah, I've started making my bed.
Yeah, and that could also be walking around the block. It could be, having an exercise routine. You start off with just simple push-ups and sit-ups and bodyweight squats or something every morning. Get your day going with that.
Exactly.
And if you can do it every day over a long period of time, you'll see results.